Okay, it's weekly rotation time. It's Sunday, May 19th, well, at the time of this recording. I have some perfumes to talk to you about, what I wore this week. I've got to say, this past 7 days has been a little bit flat, if I'm being completely honest, and not me personally, but and actually not anything to do with the particular perfumes I wore this week. I just haven't been feeling enthusiastic about perfume in general, and maybe it's because I did a bit of a clean out of my samples this week, and there were just so many that I've worn 2, 3, some of them even 4 times, and I feel like sometimes I feel like I've wasted time wearing stuff that I knew I didn't like the first go. And I think it's just this thing about me and trying to review perfumes on a YouTube channel is that I want to give perfumes as much of a chance as possible. And that's still the basis of how I review. Like I can't review something on a single wear, or at least I can't give you a fully formed opinion about it. And but what's been happening in the past few months is that I've tried a lot of different samples, new perfumes, and maybe the first time it's okay, and it was okay, and then the second time I just knew it was a little bit boring, not for me, and I haven't really smelled anything that I really dislike. I've just kind of been bored with a lot of stuff. So I decided this week just to get rid of a bunch of samples that I've been giving my time to, and I think I'm just going to trust my instinct a little bit more when I'm trying new stuff. At least, I will at least give it 2 wears, and if by the second wear there hasn't been a change in how I felt about it from the first time, then I'm just going to pass. I've just got to trust my first impressions a bit more. Anyway, let's talk about what I wore this week. Okay, so I'm going to start off. What will I start off with? I wore a few samples, and one of the perfumes, I've just talked about how I've wasted a lot of time on perfumes I don't like. This one here is called thescentinel from Headspace Perfumes. And so I've worn this now maybe 3 or 4 times, and each time there's something I like about it, but also there's this kind of overriding feeling that it's nice enough, but I don't know if I'm going to want a bottle of it. And these are the perfumes that are worth kind of persisting with in terms of like finishing off the sample and so on. I like the sandalwood note here, but what has caught my interest and kind of surprised me a little bit is that in the opening there is this quite nice, juicy, tart berry note. I don't know what type of berry. It's a red berry. And normally I don't love that particular note, or I just haven't liked many perfumes that have it. But I think here it's a really interesting combination with the predominantly smooth, buttery woods that happen for the rest of the perfume. I think it's an interesting combination, whether it's an interesting perfume. I enjoy it for the first hour or so, and then it kind of dries down, and I've smelled it before. And so, but I liked that something different about it caught my attention each time I wore it. So that's Santal by Headspace. So I will probably try and finish that sample. The other 2 that I wore at the beginning of the week, because I think I kind of feel like this week was the very last week that we're going to have sort of milder temperatures, because I've looked at the forecast for next week and it's all basically our winter has arrived, and probably a little bit early, but last week we got a few sunny days, and I took advantage of that. On early in the week, I wore Verdant by Boujee Bougies, which I quite enjoy, and I know it's not listed, and I keep mentioning it, but on the note pyramid there's a cactus note, and to me it smells like a lovely creamy fig accord, because I honestly don't know what cactus is really supposed to smell like. And obviously, given the name, it is a green perfume, but don't expect forest green. This is kind of urban green with an underlying creaminess that comes from that fruit note that I'm picking up, that green fruit note. And also from Boujee Bougies, I wore Cure, the leather perfume that they put out with this line. And leather is interesting. You know, like I can, when I used to be into amber perfumes, I basically liked every amber perfume. You know, some of them smelled the same, but there wasn't really a decent amber perfume that I didn't like. And with leathers, it's quite different for me, because I think you can get big variations in how leathers are treated, and I'll talk about that in the next sample. But the Cure from Boujee Bougies is definitely, to me, a very smoky, phenolic kind of leather, like it's been warmed up by friction. It's quite sort of dark and subversive, and normally anything where I can detect the aroma chemical IBQ, which is used a lot in creating leather accords, it puts me off. But I've mentioned it before, and in here it's done to just that kind of limit of my appreciation of my taste. And so it's a really interesting perfume, although I don't know if it's my type of leather. It's not a leather that I would go out and wear regularly, like some of my favorite leathers, like, for example, Gucci Guilty Absolute. But I did also wear another leather from Guerlain this week. This is Kia Intense, and this is, to me, I'm going to spray some on actually, because it's quite, I think this is a floral leather, because I get a really nice osmanthus note, and this is one way to make a leather accord, as opposed to, you can make leather with osmanthus, saffron, with IBQ, with birch tar, and that's what gives all the different leathers a different characteristic. Here, it's a big, bold floral leather, and I'm here for this one. Honestly, like I'm quite captivated by it, and I'm looking forward to wearing this as it gets colder and colder and we reach the depths of winter. Who knows? It might be on my radar eventually. Speaking of leather, again, and this is in a similar vein to the Guerlain, the lovely floral leather Dame by Miskeo Perfumes. It is, again, this has a bit of, along with the florals, there's a bit of a powdery touch to this leather, and the leather here feels a bit oilier to something like the Kia Intense. The Kia Intense is quite floral, and I'm really noticing it now as I'm smelling. While we're on lovely smells, no leather, but a bit of civet and some aldehydes and florals. Number 5, eau de cologne from my vintage splash bottle. I think this is from the 80s. Screw off. I love wearing this perfume, seriously. And speaking of also the final sunny days of autumn in Australia, and I decided to wear Mugler cologne for probably the last time until summer comes back here. It sort of goes missing for a lot of the year, and I only see it at the bookends because obviously summer is at a different time. My perfume of the week. So I'm going to talk briefly about this. I feel like I've been talking for a long time, and I probably have. The perfume that I wore every single day of the week this week is Patrick by Fragrances of Ireland. Now, I want to pay tribute to perfumes that perhaps don't have any sexy naming. I mean, Patrick, Fragrances of Ireland, like you kind of get the idea. The bottle is okay, nothing special, light plastic cap, reasonable sprayer. It's it's an inexpensive perfume because there is nothing cheap or ordinary about the juice inside. As far as fougères go, when we're talking about ones that really try and replicate a fern, which is what fougère actually comes from, green ferns, that light, misty rainforest air, and I don't know if they're using oak moss in this, but whatever they're using in it, it provides just the best mossiness in the base. And this is my most worn now, fresh. You know, I again, like the Mugler cologne, I saved this for warmer weather, and it's so evocative of just being outdoors, away from the hustle and bustle, the cliche of walking through a meadow or a rainforest. I mean, that's what this really evokes. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is sometimes you got to try things to realize that, you know, maybe the packaging isn't that sexy, the name is not that sexy, it comes from a brand that not many people talk about, but when you smell something as good as this, who cares? Who cares, honestly? I mean, this is not Instagram-able, but I buy perfume to wear, so... All right, enough of that. I'm finally getting a bit tired now, and I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you all for a new video at some point. Bye for now.